Today, we're going to be installing the Rockslide Engineering step sliders onto my 2018 JLU Rubicon. I got the directions and everything set up, so let's jump right in. Hey, how's it going, everybody? I'm going to cut this into this video real quick. It's been about 2 weeks since I started it, and the world's kind of changed as we know it. So, with that said, I hope everybody's good in your family. I hope everything's going well for you, and I hope that things get back to normal soon. If you got extra time on your hands and you're looking to do an install like these Rockslide Engineering step sliders, have fun, have at it. But there's two things to be cautious of. Number one, front body bolts are prone to breaking because they're using aluminum body bolts and they're putting red Loctite on these things. I was not aware of that. After looking and seeing some other people that had the same issues, I had to go and get it fixed. Not something that I really wanted to tear into. They made it look pretty good. I was happy with the end result on it, and it's all good to go. The other thing, for a warning before you get into this video and look at the electrical install, is when you do go to put these on, whether you have the Rubicon rock rails or nothing, be sure to remove the two pinch weld bolts that are painted according to your vehicle's factory color before you put these on, because you're going to need to take those bolts off and then put them back on after the steps are on. Otherwise they'll get in the way. Another mistake that I made. That said, here's what they look like. Then what you're going to do is, once you have the steps on, you're going to bolt them back in. Be careful, because I had my driver's side middle bolt actually start spinning on the washer side on the inside of the vehicle, and I had to clamp it down with a pair of pliers to get it to stop spinning and be able to get that bolt in there tightened all the way. Otherwise it was just spinning. I think it cross-threaded a little bit. I have no idea why it did it, but my passenger side did not. So the first thing that we're going to do is take the wiring harness that goes from your battery to your cab and wire that through. But what you need to do is you need to pry open what I'm going to call the vehicle's harness box to the engine. Keeps all the wiring that goes across to the inside of your vehicle away from the engine heat and water and whatnot. But on the harness for the engine going into your cab, we got to first remove the fuse inside of this. Kind of hard to get out. For the power going to your battery, you're going to use a 10mm socket and attach the red wire to the positive and the black to the negative, and then run it across your engine bay through the harness box, and it'll come out on the other end, where then you'll route it through into the cab. Alright, so you have a firewall plug right here, and there's only one, so you can't get it mistaken. What you're going to do is drill it out 1532. The drill bit will give you about enough room to get these through, and then what you do is you just line it back up and then just turn it, and it'll lock into place. And then this wiring harness will now be inside your cab above your pedals. So the next thing we're going to be doing is removing all the trim paneling on the driver's side and passenger side, so that we can put this wiring harness in place, to include removing the floor carpet, getting it out of the way. So to get this started, we're going to pull back on the trim panel and get it to release, and the clip should come free, and you won't have any issue. To get this trim panel off, I push the front seat all the way back, and then there's one 10mm nut here, and then right behind it on the other side is a white square plastic clip that you have to undo to be able to get the whole door harness off that connects your electrical for your door. Take the door off so that it's no longer attached, and then push the trim with the seat back, push the trim away from the edge of the vehicle, and it'll start to come loose. And as you can see, there's several points by which it connects, one of them being right here to your middle pillar, and then one of them here, and here, and then as you disconnect them, they should pop free and hopefully not break. On the back side, there's going to be the same thing here. There's a couple of these they're like rod clips. They look like you stick a rod inside of them, and then that'll come apart. There's 2 clips here and then 2 clips down here, and then that'll take off the middle panel, and that's as far up as you need to go to be able to get the bottom across. I have the wiring harness going to the back already, and it's underneath the trim panel. The passenger side's already removed. Same thing, just pushing it away. Well, the first thing I'm going to do is plug in the power, and it's not live because I took out the fuse, and then I'm going to work on the kill switch that's going to be right here, and then go around to the driver back seat, and then passenger back seat, and then passenger front seat. Alright, so what I did was I attached this bracket right here, right in front of the I believe it to be a PCM reader. There's a black bolt. It's an 8mm bolt, and you can unscrew it and then screw this bracket that comes with your system for the kill switch right into there. Then what you're going to want to do is ground your kill switch wire to the grounds that are provided right here, and then you'll be able to plug it in, but I'm not going to do that at this point. I'm going to wire the rest of the vehicle. So we've got the wiring harness all the way through to the passenger back, and then we have the power already wired up to the front, and we're underneath the panel already. So what we need to do is get the purple and orange sensor out of all this and run it up the passenger side to the striker for the door, and we're gonna go ahead and tuck that in for now. We have the back door striker sensor up under the carpet for the most part. Then what we're gonna do is we're gonna take basically the power to the lights and the power to the steps, and we're gonna put them through this weather grommet right here. So you just peel this up with like a trim tool, and you won't scratch anything, and it'll be good. And then it'll be just a hole under here, and that's where we'll put our power through. And then this will go to the striker in the front door, and we'll wire it up through here and through this trim right here. On the driver's side, in the back, we pulled up the waterproof grommet, the one that looks like this, and that's what we use as our plug port for the power and the lights on the steps. And what that does is it also gets it away from the muffler that's underneath the vehicle if you were to use the floor plug. Now the floor plug on this side is about right here, and we pulled that up, and then I cut out a large piece of the center of the floor plug for the light power for the steps, and then the other side I'm going to use for the power for the steps. And then if there's any kind of space left once I pull it through, I'm going to use some RTV and backfill it so it's still waterproof, because honestly in all of this stuff I don't want there to be any kind of water coming into the vehicle if there's any water fording going on. So I'm going to go ahead and push these through, and then I'm going to put them through the floor. So on the passenger side, rear passenger side, you're going to feed these cables through. Now underneath where this drain is the gas tank, so you're gonna need to feed it through towards you, and then grab it on top of the gas tank. It's not really hard to do. Make sure you have all your cable, and then seal it up and pull it through on top of the gas tank. The cable should be readily available. So now that I have the wiring harness going out the vehicle and just above the fuel tank, I'm going to plug in the control unit, and then I'm going to tuck the control unit under the carpet here a little bit high and then out of the way, and it won't get in the way of the seat coming down. And I don't really plan on having any water inside the vehicle. If I do, I got other problems too. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to plug this thing in and then tuck it up underneath the carpet, and then worked on getting the doors wired up. I've got the driver's side sensors installed on the panels for the vehicle. And what I'm going to do is show you how I'm going to do the passenger side, which is going to be the same way I did the driver's side. So you take 2 of these provided little sticky squares, and 2 of them are going to go on the back of the magnetic part that goes to the vehicle. And then the same thing for the front. With the strip that's on the cables on the wire, you would peel that off and then place it on the vehicle. So that's going to be used for the front, but the back I'm going to take it and slide it all the way down towards the receiver for the most part. And then when I attach the magnetic part to the vehicle, I'm going to fasten the wires underneath the inside right here, and then use the strip that way so that it's secured and then connected in. I'm kind of a Neanderthal, and I have to use tweezers to get the other backing off the sticky squares once I have them attached. Then the way that they're positioned is the little indicator strip that's on it goes to the outside. I'm going to tuck the wires behind the trim right here, keep them out of the way. Now everything is nice and tucked away. I'm going to connect the connector, the wiring harness, and do the same thing to the front. Actually slide underneath. You'll see a vehicle wiring harness that goes through here, and I put it underneath that so that it's just a little bit more out of the way. Line up the clips, tuck it away, and that should be sufficient for the back door. For the front, it's a little bit different. You're going to go ahead and orient the magnetic part right underneath the where the door latches, and run the strip about even with it, and then wrap it around your trim, and then connect it behind the plastic trim panel right here. So I'm going to go ahead and knock that out. I'm not worried about the 3M not sticking because I've already prepped the surface. And that's that. The wiring harness is in place. I think that's the hardest part of this whole job, and it takes a ton of time. I'm really sorry about some of the angles. Really hard to get in there with one person videoing and doing the work. But the next step is getting those sliders underneath the vehicles. Really straightforward. The directions are pretty clear. I don't think there's going to be a lot of questions for that. Any kind of questions for the electrical stuff, be sure to drop them in the comments below, and I'll address them as soon as I can. Let's jump into these sliders on the side, and we'll run through it, get everything put back together, and then see how they're operating. So your rock rails are on. Everything's good to go. You want to line up these magnets so that it opens and closes without any kind of issues. This is the location of my door magnet. The other thing that I did was add the step lights. I didn't see any videos out there on how to install these specific step lights from Rockslide Engineering, so this is how I did it. And you can kind of vary it any which way you would like to vary it and get it to work for you. It was about 2 weeks between the video starting and finishing. Because of the issues that I had with my front body bolt being broken, I did have to break it up and kind of piece some things together. Hope it wasn't too annoying or too long for you guys. Thanks for watching. Hope everything's going well for you, and wish you the best on this project. I recommend doing it if you can at home. It's really not that bad outside of these front body bolts. If you get that taken care of, awesome. If it's no issue for you, even better. Just understand there's a lot of other people that are running in those issues, and they're having a hard time navigating how to get these front body bolts loosened and tightened without them actually snapping. So if you have any tips or comments as far as how you might have done it or dealt with it and experienced that same kind of a thing as far as those getting tight because of that red Loctite, make sure you drop those in the comments below, and hopefully other people will read that and be able to not have the issues that I had. So that said, thanks for stopping by. I wish you the best. I pray for you guys, and I'll see you again.